The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com.
Children of war, my hate will fuel this fire, brighter than the fires before. The force is strong with this one, vindication, righteous through and
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mind of a Geek. I am your host, Nate, and I am joined, as always, by Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
Just call me Tanya, and I'll get up on you.
Huh?
What's up?
Not too much. Not too much at all. Just hanging out. So those of you that are regular listeners will recognize that that is not our regular intro.
It's not?
It is not. It should be. It's awesome. But it is not.
I mean, no offense, Dustin, but you're done.
So
He's fired, we're hired.
So that is the song Kill the Jedi, which is the newest single from the rock metal geek cosplay band. I've heard so many descriptors describing your band, so I'm just going to throw them all into one sentence. Songhammer. And we have Ben from Songhammer with us this evening. Ben, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. We're a mighty quartet, but tonight I'm running solo, so it's all good. And I'm ShredHammer, for all of you out there in streaming land.
So do you all end with hammer?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm ShredHammer. The other vocalist and songwriter is Croonhammer. And then we have another guitar player. He's Deathhammer. And the drummer is Time Hammer.
Nice.
Very fitting.
Yeah, it is. It's appropriate.
I like that works. So you guys have been a band for how long now?
We started in 2011. So in 2011, we actually began by submitting material to the BlizzCon music competition that they have an original music contest. We submitted and ended up being one of the winners for the contest. They had us come out to BlizzCon, and the next BlizzCon, we entered their talent competition and won that. And then after that, they just started hiring us.
So was it a themed band from the get-go?
Yeah. So we, Croonhammer and we both played in different touring groups. And so the idea of doing a few songs that were Warcraft themed just for the BlizzCon contest was where it all started for Songhammer.
So how do you have time to play?
After that, it just, started rolling and, snowballing until we started getting, again, hired by Blizzard and other conventions. And then we started performing at things like the Stanley LA Comic-Con or,
Nice.
Gamescom in Germany or things like that.
I'm surprised if you play WoW, you have time to be in a band.
Yeah, it's true. So and Croonhammer is he so I'm ShredHammer, he's Croonhammer, but he shreds me. And he rolls Mythic, and he's hardcore.
Nice.
He's very good.
I miss having the time to play that full time.
Yeah, I never had the time in the first place.
Yeah.
It's hard. We find that, the busier we are. We scored a movie last year. We've done a bunch of different work, music work in the last couple of years, and it's harder to find time, but it's necessary, right? You gotta eat, you gotta sleep, you gotta get as much sci-fi and fantasy in your life.
Hold
as
on,
possible.
gotta sleep is subjective.
Well, that's what energy drinks are for,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and caffeine. So you're right. That's
Right.
optional, but then you also have to play.
So now, do you guys? Where do you guys are you all WoW players, or is it just you two?
So it's interesting because so WoW is where we started, but like a great example is ShredHammer loves Call of Duty, and he plays some other, which is also Blizzard Activision is now under the same umbrella as well.
I know, I love it.
So, but I mean, it's amazing.
Two of my favorite game companies have come together.
The same,
right.
umbrella.
Yeah, you have like the most popular MMO of all time with the most popular first-person shooter of all time.
Right. So Black Ops, when it comes out, should be amazing
right.
and polished.
I am pumped for Black Ops 4.
That, and then Timehammer loves Diablo. Actually, he enjoys playing Diablo, and then on top of that, it's cramming as much, again, sci-fi and fantasy into our lives as humanly possible.
I literally just finished the series Battlestar Galactica tonight.
Oh,
the 04,
the newer series.
Yeah.
It mind-blowingly cool.
I loved it so much. It's probably within my top 5. I denied it for so long. I thought it was just a cheap Star Wars ripoff. So wrong. I was so wrong.
Well, and the politics behind the whole idea of like the new Cylons and all that it's brilliant.
The entire message of that show is amazing. I cried at the end, and I'm gonna start it again, I think.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, is it? It was on Netflix. Now it's on like Hulu or something.
I watched it on Prime.
Prime. Oh, okay, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta watch it. Yeah, it's so good.
I don't do sci-fi.
That's so wrong. You do fantasy though, right?
I do fantasy.
I
That's
do
why
both.
I like.
I mean, I walk in both worlds, but I don't know. It depends on my mood what rules out.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's why. But like again, that's why I contest that Star Wars is not sci-fi. It's fantasy. Because it's, I mean, it happens to be in space, but it's sword fights and wizard powers.
Well, it's also a Western and everything else that he borrowed from.
That's true.
They call it a space opera.
Right.
Right.
So I have to ask, and then we can continue to diverge. But the reason I asked the WoW question, are you all the same faction? Is the band bifactional?
Bifactional.
Okay. I want to say this.
There's only one right answer, by the way.
Right? To all of our Alliance fans out there, we love you, and you are awesome, and we think you're cool.
Hold on.
I don't think that you think that I'm cool.
You can love them, but don't tell them they're awesome.
I am awesome.
But I want you to know that Songhammer's, the song that won the competition for BlizzCon was called "We Are the Horde." So it's brutal. So we tend to roll Horde. Dustin has actually he's helped to run a guild called the Songhammer Guild, the Croonhammer, for several years, and it's Horde. It's on Tichondrius, but Croonhammer will be the first to say it. He's rolled both Alliance and Horde, and so we're definitely we're not super factional. But, the new expansion is called The Battle for Azeroth. Have you guys seen the trailer for it, the cinematic?
No, I have. I'm Horde through and through. I absolutely I love that my queen Sylvanas is the war chief.
Maybe the best war chief yet.
She is. I mean, I don't know. It's a toss-up with... See, I loved Garrosh as war chief.
Right.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this on last week's episode too, but I think he's what the Horde needed to be. The Horde needs to step up and take down the Alliance, because it is in the same way that I will always argue that the Sith are the good guys, because the Jedi are the overly religious zealots that want to impose their rule and their specific moral code on everybody, like certain religions. Whereas the Sith just want to be free from the Jedi oppression.
And be dictators.
That's not details.
And be dictators.
Details. So the Horde's the same way. Like the Horde is just trying to exist on Azeroth, because they're from Duratar. Why can't I think of the name of the planet? I'm having a total mind blank. But whatever planet they're from.
But couldn't you argue
Burning
that
Crusade.
they were like the Europeans coming to America?
But they're being... I suppose, but in that case, that would make the Alliance the Native Americans, and now they're slaughtering the Europeans. That doesn't work out, right?
Well, they regrouped and gathered their forces. And...
Can we play a little blip of your "We Are the Horde" song?
Yeah, please do.
All right, so let's pull up. This is "We Are the Horde" from Songhammer.
I smell the burning of the villagers at dawn. No room for weakness in the soldiers of the spawn. You can't withstand my hammer's blow. This is my right, I take control.
I must say,
That's my favorite one so far, man.
Awesome.
I've listened to all the songs that you have on YouTube, and there is not a song I don't like.
Oh, that's very cool.
You have at least 2 new fans from right here, and I'm sure our listeners.
Well, even from last week, I mean, we spent a good amount of time last weekend listening. So
yeah, and you have some people in our audience that were already fans. Like we had made the announcement in our newsletter as well as on the live Twitch stream after last week's episode. And when we said that Songhammer was coming on, like one of our listeners was like, "What?"
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, and then right there in the chat, Captain Temerity, Mr. Corey, who's one of our biggest fans, he's like, "I downloaded all the albums that are on Google Play."
Wow.
Oh, awesome. You rock.
So beyond that, which is science fiction and WoW, when did you? Let's talk a little bit about you and step away from the band a little bit. So when did you get started with music?
I was kind of into music ever since I was in, junior high and high school. And it was that I basically, my dad was actually always into classic rock. And so that was and he had this huge record collection. And so like OG vinyl records. And so I used to just sit there listening to all these like old dope, Boston albums or the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or whatever. He had all these like old records. And that's where it started, it just was this love of music and, figuring out how to make sounds and stereo and panning. And, so I became kind of an audiophile before I even knew what that was.
Okay.
I can relate to that.
Kroonhammer, it was similar, he was raised and he was hearing a lot of similar music. And he got, when he was in like junior high and high school, he got into these choral groups. And so the other singer, the other guy in the band, that does writing with me is, Kroonhammer. He went to Chapman University and he got a degree in choral music and singing opera and doing all this kind of stuff. And so my background from me learning and playing music was more like, AC/DC and classic rock and all this stuff, way after the fact. And then he was, singing arias. And so it was this weird meshing, when we came together. But that's kind of our musical backgrounds.
Nice. I figured you were the classic rock guy. I didn't know if you were going to take anything.
No, it's sorry, I was drinking a beer.
It's all good.
Totally relatable,
Right
man.
thing.
Like, I know, right? You got to make choices.
I'm very much a modern,
Well, here's the thing, right? So my mother had that same kind of collection. I think that's how a lot of us grew up, right?
Well,
Classic
see, that's
rock,
where I went different.
AC/DC, Aerosmith, those were my first,
Yeah, see, I grew up with country music.
But it's like a drug for me. Well, my father was country, so
Right.
I feel the country.
Well, I grew up with what I call country music.
Yeah, you listen to pop is what you listen to.
Right. Modern country's pop.
But music is like a drug,
it's
right?
cool.
So your classic rock is your gateway,
Right.
You get into, inevitably you're going to go into grunge. You graduate into metal, thrash. It gets harder. You get burnt out for a little while. You move into folk.
Right.
You grow up, you relax, and then it's kind of all-encompassing. You listen to everything.
Right.
So, I mean, now, I love my classic rock, but I also love, my Avenged, my Metallica. I love...
Snapping your fingers?
Yeah.
Avatar?
Avatar, thank you. You know my body so well.
You guys have one mind. That was good. I saw the connection.
Right, it happens. We touch tips.
Yeah. Well, and for Songhammer, we try, because we perform at conventions and because we're playing for an audience that's really diverse, we have to have things that everything from, metal to straight up rock music to kind of popish type pieces, because the audience is everybody. And so, but as musicians, it's really awesome because we get to play pretty much anything that's cool. It could be hip hop, it could be rock, it could be whatever, and it could be straight up pop music. And ShredHammer is actually pop writer.
I noticed that with a lot of your songs, because they all, like, you guys have a very distinct sound in that you can tell it's you, but also each song has a slightly different feel to it.
Right.
So,
we
and
don't
I think
stick in a niche or a genre completely.
Which is it's nice because it pulls. Not only will you have different songs that will function as different lures to pull different people in, but you also might open people up to other types of music because they want to listen to everything that you listen to. Yeah, and I think that's something that you see with a lot of genres these days. Like we had mentioned, my desire of pop country. And that's one thing that's doing is in probably the oddest, most unexpected trend you'd ever expect. You see a lot of country and hip hop merging together these days.
Right.
Which is like the most opposite of genres.
Right. But what links it together is that modern country is more like what used to be Southern rock and pop music.
Right.
And so you have this once pop music gets into the mix, then ideas of merging, beats with hip hop or other things like that become a lot more accessible. And also that is modern music. Modern music, we're using beats with drum sets, and we're using, lots of keyboards and synths, and we're using sequencing along with live instruments, and so the idea for that to happen in country is just the next evolutionary step.
Right. But yeah, in the same vein as him, no, I mean, I try and be as diverse as I can. I mean, to be fair, a lot of it is radio stuff just because that's my exposure.
Sure.
But, it's everything from again, mind blanks, who's the guy that's dubbed like the modern Michael Jackson?
Bruno Mars.
Thank you. Bruno Mars to, like he said, Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, Skrillex and Deadmau5 will come on. Like, so it's a mix of everything.
Yeah, you won't hear that shit.
No, he doesn't do any electronic.
Maybe in high school, not now.
You would hear that with Songhammer because we literally, between all of the different band members, there's so many different genres of music that we all like and appreciate. And the cool thing is, again, because we're playing at conventions around the world, we get to, whatever we think is cool or whatever we think a particular song could be, we get to do. And so it's as musicians, it's exciting because we get to go anywhere, and everywhere throughout the universe.
So of the
music.
Of the songs that you have currently written, and I mean, we can go with like the music videos you have up on YouTube and stuff. What would you say? And I know it's almost like asking children, but what would you say is your favorite of the ones you've done so far?
Oh wow, that's interesting because each of the band members likes different videos and different songs because of things that they contributed.
Right.
So one of the favorites for sure is Legion, which is it's on the new EP that we put out called Disco and DPS, and that was the first rock video that Blizzard put on the World of Warcraft game launcher.
Right.
And so and it's cool because it's almost like a System of a Down meets like some kind of early punk rock or something like that. We get to be a little bit metal, but we also get to be poppy. But with the video, the cosplayers that are in that video, some of them are BlizzCon award-winning cosplayers. And so the cosplay that you see like in a classroom setting, those are some of like the highest quality of cosplay in the world.
They are some pretty amazing like cosplayers. Like I have a couple of friends that do that. It's something that I've wanted to get into, and just I don't have the ability. I'm not that talented. But
man, it's art.
It's so incredible what people do. So let's hear a little bit of Legion, and then the live audience. Ben was nice enough to give us 2 copies of the newest EP to give away. So we will listen to some of Legion, and then we will give that first copy away.
Yeah.
I love the visuals.
Yeah.
And if you think that you can run away, then run away. I'll be behind you.
That's ShredHammer.
Spectral sight illuminates the night. The time has come for another war, a different score. The Illadari pledged their lives, but 1 in 5 survive. My eyes are blind and yet I see the passing days.
So good.
It is. It is very good. Indeed.
So-
I like it. That might be one of my new ringtones.
Oh, excellent.
Because I really
See?
like that song. So right now in our chat, this is the first giveaway since moving to the Mac, and the bot doesn't run on the Mac, so my giveaway roulette does not work.
I think I'm getting old. I can't even see that from here.
What, the chat?
Hi something.
Amuselise, yeah.
that-
Annalise
is
is
that
in there, but
Annalise?
she said she was just stopping in to dropping by to check in, hanging out with the parental units. So hi and bye.
Touche.
So let's see. If you, Ben, are you looking at the chat?
No,
No,
I
okay,
don't see the
no,
chat.
that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. So, if you would like a free copy of their newest EP, Disco and DPS, put a number between 1 and 10 in the chat, and we will do it the old school. Let's give something away an IRC way.
Oh.
So while we're waiting for the lag on Twitch to catch up, so yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that song. Man, Legion tried so hard to be so good, and I think where with Warlords
Legion
they went.
was really where I jumped in, so I love Legion, but Suramar.
No, well, see, I don't mind Suramar
Suramar
so
is
much,
a bit grindy. I just.
but where they went like absolutely nothing end game wise to do with Warlords, I think they went a little too far in the other direction with Legion, and
yeah,
I'm really
hoping
excited
that Battle
to
for
see.
Azeroth is a good medium.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see the happy medium.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to get back to, well, and also the idea of factionalism and the idea of, you know, the whole alliance versus horde. Well, they set it up obviously in Legion where, you know, the horde backs off and they kind of leave the alliance hanging.
Yeah,
And then I think they were looking for, you know, not just balance, but, you know, Blizzard's brilliant. I think that when it comes to BlizzCon, I mean, they're going to use the expansion to hype the crowd and to make people, you know, alliance, horde.
Oh yeah,
And couldn't you equate that to, you know, sequelism where, you know, you have a certain amount of movies, sooner or later the enemies are going to become friends, and then you sort of have to reboot that and reinvigorate.
Right, exactly.
yes, and there's nothing worse than having to be friends with dirty alliance.
Is that
Uh,
and actually, there's
hey.
no good guy, you know.
No, there
So
is a
it's,
good guy. Sylvanas is a no. It's
Yeah, Sylvanas
yeah.
is a good
Sylvanas
girl.
she's the good girl, or the
Right.
good banshee queen. Yeah. No,
right.
yeah. It's amazing what Blizzard has done.
She's here to help, right?
She's here to rule over everybody.
What does she say in Heroes? She's still nice in Heroes, right? Is that her?
Boy, no. That's
Is
Jaina.
that-
I'm
is
here
it
to
Jaina?
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that
Proud
bitch.
one, yeah.
Yeah, Dreadlord Jaina is so cool, and it's the only tolerable form of her because she shuts up. I'm so sick and tired of hearing her cry about Theramore. Have a cookie and get over it, for fuck's sake.
So we have on the Disco and DPS EP. There's 2 Warcraft songs. One of them was obviously Legion,
Yep.
and then the other is Eat Us Alive, and that's the other video that we filmed more recently, and also that video was also put on the World of Warcraft game launcher.
Now, if my memory serves me, that's a PvP-ish song.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yep.
And it's so, and the really cool thing about that video is that we have a few Songhammer fans that decided to be in the videos. One of them is Sam Jones, who is the original Flash Gordon from the 1980s Flash Gordon movie.
Oh, nice.
And so Sam Jones he does a cameo in the video. Also, Greg Grunberg, who was on Heroes and on Lost and The Force Awakens and Star Trek Beyond, and he's in a lot of J.J. Abrams stuff. And
right.
So he's a big Songhammer fan. So we said, "Hey, Greg, would you be in the video?" He's like, "Totally, I'll be in the video." And so he jumped in. And then also Claire Kramer, who was Glory on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was the main bad girl. And then was also in the Bring It On movies and stuff like that. But those three decided to jump on and do cameos in the video, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then also the gal who keeps killing us over and over and over again when we get sucked into the game is Leanna Vamp. And she's one of the world's top cosplay models.
Very cool. Now, with the outfits that you guys wear in the videos, now...
Right, the armor?
Yes. Do you guys fashion those? Do you have like cosplayers that like make the armor for you? Like, cause it looks like it's like moderately well done.
Yeah. That is top grade battle ready leather. And it's very thick leather armor. And it's made there's a company called Sharp Mountain Leather. And if you go to songhammer.com, in our partners section, we have links to different sponsors, and then they're a partner with us as well. And so what happens is we go on and we help and talk with Sharp Mountain about the design that we're looking for, or different things that we need. And functionally, we have to be able to wear guitars. We have to be able to stomp around, jump around on stage. We have to be able to ride the occasional horse or do a battle scene. And so, and in fact, in the Death is on the Way video that's also on there, we're riding horses and we're, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And so in that respect, we have to have armor that is actually literally functional and that we can fight in and do the whole thing. And so Sharp Mountain Leather, we teamed up with them, and so that stuff is like legit armor.
That's cool. It's very.
So
it reminds me of a monomarth.
We got the armor from initially, and then we helped, on some design aspects, and then also logos and things like that they put on.
Nice.
So at this point, I am going to have you pick a number between 1 and 10.
The number's got to be 6.
All right. Let's go with, okay, so up to without going over. 6 puts us closest to Corey. Captain Temerity. Congratulations.
Corey.
We talk on Facebook.
You're a winner.
We talk on Facebook. I will get you the code. I didn't actually open them. Are they codes for CD baby?
So if you email one of the images to them, they can type in that code that's on there, and you can only download it once. And so each of those.
Wait, hold on a second. I got that backwards. You're right, Corey. I went backwards. Maximus, you get it. Corey, thank you. I am tired.
Hey, Corey.
I was doing it backwards, and that your number did not go over his. I did that completely backwards.
So wait, let's give Corey a consolation prize. If he goes to songhammer.com, and anyone who's listening, actually, he can get the song Kill the Jedi for free. If you go to the free music link, it'll take you to an area where he can get Kill the Jedi for free.
See how I intentionally did that to set that up?
It worked
All right,
out.
So Maximus, congratulations. Man, I am out of it. I did that totally backwards. So you can message me on Twitch, or I can bring you by the link, because I'll just stop by the vape shop and drop it off. So congratulations. Yeah, he works at one of the local vape shops.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Candy cane, Swedish for life.
But so that will be yours, and then we will give the second copy away at the end of the show. So if you want a chance to win another one, already on the page, checking partners. Yeah, he says he loves that you have line 6 on there.
Excellent. Hey, well, and actually, Line 6 is one of our sponsors. They we used to use, regular amplifiers and all that stuff. But when you're touring and when you're going to different places, especially at conventions where they don't have a lot of room, and we started using these pods that they gave us, which is revolutionized not only the way we record but also the way that we perform. And so, they also gave us a guitar, which was amazing, and the Line 6, the technology in their instruments is just like it is in their amps or in their pods. And so the guitar itself can become an acoustic guitar, can become, multiple electric guitars. It's incredible. And it's called the Variax. And we went from using acoustic guitars on stage live to using the Variaxes live. And it's insane because they sound just as good when
That's
you're performing.
Crazy. I didn't know that even existed.
Now, is it a simulated sound? Is it similar?
It's computer. It's obviously using the strings from the electric guitar, but yes, it's going through. And we just what sold us on it is we were performing at BlizzCon and along with Metallica, and Metallica was using Variaxes. They had the acoustic version of the Variax when they were playing Nothing Else Matters and some of the other stuff that have an acoustic electric sound to it.
Right.
And they were using the Line 6 Variax, and we were like, if Metallica uses it, it's good enough for us.
Hey, so you guys were at the BlizzCon that Metallica was at?
Yeah, so we super fun fact, the only bands that were hired for the BlizzCons that we performed at, with Metallica, with who else? Foo Fighters, with what was it? Linkin Park. The shows that we played, there were 2 bands hired those years. Songhammer and then whatever those other bands were.
Man,
that's awesome.
I wish I had heard of it back then. I was at that BlizzCon.
Oh my god!
Because that was
super cool.
That was 2014.
Right. So do you remember the outdoor stage that they set up outside to do like that was the 10th anniversary of the World of Warcraft.
Right. Yeah.
And
Wait,
so
hold on. That was you guys?
That stage. They hired us to be the entertainment to do it.
Man, so crazy. Yeah, me and a bunch of my friends were outside in we were getting food from the food carts.
Yeah, right.
And
probably hearing the band play.
Yeah, probably. That's so crazy. Yeah, I was out there in that big audience somewhere. Yeah, I've got a bunch of pictures because that was the year that Overwatch was unveiled.
Right. And okay, so another fun fact is
that's so crazy.
So on our second album, Take a Ride on My Spaceship, we have a song called Overwatch, which we met with the dev team, the development team for Overwatch in 2015, and we started they let us play the game with the development team, and they just destroyed us. And we went in there with armor on, and we're like, we're gonna go play Overwatch. And we meet with the dev team to do research for the song. And so and they had us in there, and they just creamed us. And so then afterwards we're like, all right, it's time for real melee combat. Let's do this. They're like, no, they start running through the office. So we ended up writing the song, and then they sent us to Germany to Gamescom, and we performed the song Overwatch as a debut because they debuted the first new characters, and it was still when Overwatch was in beta. So they did Soldier 76 and Lucio and who else? I think that was it. And so it was just really, really cool. And that was also when they were we got to perform, I think, 3 days in Germany for Gamescom. Yeah.
Well, let's hear a little bit of that Overwatch song right now.
Yeah.
feel there.
And you can actually hear Croonhammer and I going back and forth, in there a lot.
Now, when I played that, because when I was reading the email the second time after we had heard back, I was chatting with him and we played that. And would you say it was like if Overwatch was a Saturday morning cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very totally. Opening theme, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun. I like the feel. There had a little bit of like the rap rock mix built into that. No, I thoroughly enjoy that one.
Very cool. Yeah. Because Overwatch is, it's the future, it's techno, it's technological. And so we wanted it to kind of be rocking, but you hear a lot of like cool synth and keyboards.
Right.
The soundtrack for the game itself has a lot of these keyboards that have a lot of delay on it and do this, kind of computery sounds. And so we actually listened to a bunch of what they were doing, and then we kind of mimicked a little bit and tried to bring that into the verses of the song and create something was kind of anthemic like they were creating, and kind of hero, like it's kind of triumphant.
It certainly has
because
that feel.
Heroes never die.
Go Joe, man.
Right, totally. That's right. You know what?
So obviously, you've got Blizzard and all their properties that are wonderful, and then the newest single, "Kill the Jedi." Do you have any properties that you haven't touched on yet that you're maybe hoping to touch on with songs in the future?
Galactica.
Yeah. Hey, so. It's funny, this summer I was actually working on a piece called We Blamed It on the Cylons.
Nice.
We blame it on the Cylons. And, it's going to be a... But...
Dude, you should cover All Along the Watchtower, right?
Yeah, hey, there you go.
It's, it's right there, so...
Well, okay, another fun fact. Songhammer has never done a cover. So we're all of our music... Most like geek niche bands or bands that do music in our genres of fantasy and sci-fi and video games and all that, they're usually not always, but they're usually some kind of a cover band that does parody,
right?
And so we actually don't do that, and so it's pretty fun that we actually get to write original music and write about Cylons or whatever.
And that's why you're the only other band booked with Metallica and the like.
Yeah, right, maybe. No, it's because we're the face melting overlords of rock, really.
That's true.
That's why.
That's true.
Yeah. But it's so one of the titles that we write for is Game of Thrones. So we have two songs on the last album. That one is called Ironborn. The other one is called Northman, and so those two are two that because even before the HBO series, which is mind blowing, I was a huge book fan of the books, and so I was that jerk who was like, I know what's going to happen beforehand, and because I had read the books and I loved them, and so. When we actually started writing for material for Game of Thrones, it was just super exciting because we could tap into both the books and the series.
Right.
But
Game of Thrones is second only to Dark Tower.
You Shoot All Drive was a song that Croonhammer had started coming up with, and which is kind of this kind of almost disco-y sounding, Michael Jackson-y sounding, and but he's like, wouldn't it be great if we talked about what happens in the zombie apocalypse, but you're at the nightclub, and then you realize that the girl that's really cute dancing there isn't actually dancing, she's a zombie, and you almost kissed her, and it was awkward. And so, but that's another title that we write for. But you're talking about some like new titles or things. One of the songs that's on the new EP is called Sword Art Online, and it's about the Japanese anime series Sword Art Online.
Right.
And they had a movie that came out a year and a half ago that was really big in Asia, and then they have a series that's huge, and
Now
so
that's-
that's like one that we also really dig.
That's the one. I'm not an anime guy,
Okay.
but that's the one where like the people get sucked into an MMO, right?
Yeah, which is super perfect to write
Right.
for Songhammer.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yes, that's right.
yeah. No, I heard about it. We one of an old show that used to be on the network, Geek Access. Corey, one of my co-hosts there, he was a big anime fan. And like there were talks where we were gonna do a podcast where like he would introduce me to different anime shows and stuff like that. And I don't know.
Can't.
It was just something that I tried, and I have total respect for the art form, but like I don't know. Like I tried Akira, and Akira's cool, and it looks really badass.
None of it. It just I don't know, man. It just doesn't do anything
It's
for me.
the thing that ruins anime for me is the anime cliches that are almost in every anime.
You mean that it never ends happy?
Well, no, see, I'm cool with that. That's what I hate about Hollywood. It always has to end happy.
Right.
But like, no, I mean, like, just I don't know. There's just stereotypes. I can't. I don't want to list. I can't list them off without sounding like an anti-anime snob, because I'm not. Like, I totally respect the artistic platform. And
Right.
so many of the games that I grew up loving are in that JRPG style,
yeah,
like Final
totally.
Fantasy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But-
absolutely.
Like I would take,
Overwatch.
yeah, I would take Final Fantasy over almost any Americanized Western RPG.
Right.
You know, and they up till recently they all had that style, or at least
Yeah,
some
it's
form
true.
of it. You know, and going into that, you know, go like any of the Square back before they made the horrible mistake of merging with Enix. But back when Square was SquareSoft, and you know they were the true king of RPGs, and they were knocking them out left and right. You know, and they were that Japanese style.
Right. It's that's really kind of the birthplace. You know, anime was the birthplace of so many, you know, video game characters and at least the look and the feel and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of an anime enthusiast, and so there's a lot, you know, that I like, and I like a lot of the modern stuff. Like there's like Death Note actually is a great example, and actually the thing that is exciting, at least for Songhammer, about anime is that we hear all this music.
Oh, I
Like
bet,
they
yeah.
actually use like metal music. They'll use like these crazy like jazz, progressive rock stuff, and Japan is not afraid to really go weird and experimental with music on their in the anime. It's like it's this weird free flowing art zone.
Right.
And so we there's this band called Maximum the Hormone, and actually they're a Japanese metal band, and we discovered them through Death Note. And then I was in Japan this last summer, and I ended up buying their CD in Japan. And
Nice.
you know, they're this huge metal band in Japan, and they get their stuff, you know, put on anime cartoons. It's pretty dope.
That's cool. What counts as anime? I like Cowboy Bebop. I like Inuyasha.
Yeah, that's anime.
Yeah, that would be anime. Yeah.
You know, is that like layman anime or what?
He would know.
Cowboy
He might know.
Bebop's
I
like
don't know.
classic canon.
Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop is
That's a
awesome.
great example.
See, like-
Inuyasha's awesome.
See, my issue
Big O.
was like I think
Big O. I guess I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I'm an Adult Swim enthusiast. That's
Like,
what
yeah, no,
I
that's
grew up-
all good.
I grew up with a friend that was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z, and I wanted to
Right,
slap him
right.
every
Hate it.
time he talked about his
I
balls.
hate it.
And then you know, like again, gaming wise,
Well, that's like Dirty Steve and Yu-Gi-Oh, man.
yeah,
Every time I
what
go
the
over there,
fuck?
we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Every
Yeah.
time.
playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, that's like choosing to play like Elder
we could-
Scrolls
we could
Online when
just
World of
play
Warcraft
Magic.
is there, or just play Pokemon.
Right.
Like
No,
play the
no.
Pokemon card game over
No,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, fuck Pokemon.
No, Magic was the right thing to say.
Yeah, no, Magic is no. Man,
Actually, we wrote a song called Voltron not too long ago. So Voltron was an OG, you know, 80s series, and then which was fun fact, Voltron is actually two different anime series that the American company that was going to play it, they hacked it all up and then put it together, and it became the version of Voltron that we see that we saw in America.
So it's
But
just
there's
like
a new
Power Rangers.
Netflix
Then.
version.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Power
Rangers
Rangers
too.
is
Yeah,
the same thing, man.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Power Rangers was the same thing. They put American actors where the Japanese actors were, and
that was always the greatest laugh with Power Rangers, because in the Japanese show, all 5 actors were male. So whereas the Yellow Ranger was supposed to be this small Asian girl, if you watch the fight video, the Yellow Ranger's got a bulge. It's not a tiny Asian girl.
You know, sometimes that happens. It's,
You know,
Random bulge.
they filmed it in the Philippines. You know.
Yeah, it's a. Jesus.
I retract my former statement.
I love that. That's good. That's the right
So, what do you guys have coming up, if anything, this year for conventions, live shows, places people can go to check you out?
Well, definitely. So we're in the studio right now, and we're recording new music. So we call it the Songhammer's Forge, and so we're forging new music. I
like that the theme is so current with like it's across everything. The theme, it's great.
Yeah, it's absolute. And so we have a new Star Wars piece that we're working on. We have a new another a Battle for Azeroth themed piece that we're doing. We have, like I said, we have a Voltron piece that we're working on. We have a song called "Don't Feed the Trolls" that's like a Ramones-esque style punk rock song, and it's talking about don't feed the trolls.
Nice.
And online. And then so that's kind of what we have that's in the hopper right now. And then in the what we call the con season, which kind of starts in May and then goes through the summer. Obviously, we'll be doing the Channel 5 news. We do 2 days to 4-hour sections that Songhammer helps to sketch produce for the Channel 5 news in San Diego. And so we get cosplayers in there. We usually have a melee battle against Songhammer, so everyone has to fight Songhammer, and that'll be during San Diego Comic-Con, and then we'll be doing things there, after parties and events for Comic-Con. And then we also have, obviously in the fall, we have BlizzCon, but we'll have convention events in between now and then as well. But as we book them, we'll be posting them as well.
Cool. Do you have anything? I mean, for our interest, anything going on in like the New England, like anything like with either PAX or Boston Comic Con or anything up this way?
We're actually, so we're talking with both. PAX, we've just been talking back and forth. So keep your fingers crossed. You know, anyone who hires Songhammer. Oh, and here's another thing. So Songhammer, we perform 2 different ways. We have a duo thing where we get up there fully armored out, and we have mics, and then we have tracks, and we do kind of almost like a comedy shtick with along with our songs, our original music that we're performing, and that's just a 2-man show. And then we have the full band that comes out all armored up again, and then we rock it on stage. And so anyone out there in booking land who's looking for epic geek niche media rock and or pop and or hip hop and or whatever it might be, you need to contact Songhammer, and you can hire us, and we'll rock for you.
Where's your home base?
Our home base is Southern California. So we're about 40 minutes east of Los Angeles. So we're in the greater LA area.
Nice.
And so we obviously things like Comic-Con or BlizzCon or things like that, those are in our backyard.
Right.
And they're very close. But when we're performing out of state, we go wherever, the cons will hire us, really.
Right. Songhammer comes to Maine. Wouldn't that be fucked
if
up?
only there was
Dude, that would be awesome.
If only there was a con up here worth going to.
Oh, what is
That's-
there?
there's
What is the PortCon? Is
yeah,
that the only one?
PortCon's a pile of shit.
Right.
Well, it's all anime, so it's it's not
Hey,
for
you know what? We've got anime music.
That's
true.
true.
Talk to PortCon.
Yeah.
Tell them you want Songhammer.
Now-
even the 2-man.
Now that I've
version
openly
could
called
go.
them a pile of shit live on Twitch.
It's okay. I know people.
No,
I'll talk.
I don't. There used to be Bangor Comic and Toy Con, which was awesome, but they stopped last
Dude,
year.
I've been to PortCon. PortCon's not that bad. It's pretty good.
I've never been in. All the people,
pretty fun.
all the people that wander the mall during PortCon bug me.
Well,
you know what?
You're
That's why you need Songhammer to go to PortCon.
We do. Come make PortCon great again.
We're for it.
But no, and then there's
this doesn't lie.
Then there's obviously Boston Comic Con. There's PAX East.
Right. Right, and then
I think,
of course, like there's New York Comic Con.
Yeah, New York
or
is
like
the biggest one probably out this way.
Right.
Yeah, and then going to the bottom end of the East Coast, you've got Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are things I'd love to do a Dragon Con someday.
Dragon Con would be cool.
I
like Rock and Shock. Have you been to Rock and Shock?
No.
They literally have 24-hour stuff going on.
Yeah, I hear Dragon Con is an experience like no other. Right. Yeah, because I went to BlizzCon and BlizzCon was great. But even then, like, I mean, I don't know. With me with conventions, a lot of it's just the social aspect. Like with BlizzCon, I went and we went to the opening ceremony, and then like the rest of it, like we hung out at the bar because I just watched. I watched all the video on demands after. Yeah, the Hilton bar.
Right.
They had those stupid like $15 like the dwarf themed chugs of beer.
Right.
No, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Well, why don't you?
That's kind of our, because it's where we started. That
right.
We kind of rule that event.
Yeah,
and we love it.
Oh no, if I was West Coast, I'd be there every year. But it's an expensive haul from Maine.
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah, it absolutely is.
I mean, between the flight and the hotel and
it can get pricey.
Yeah, it certainly can. It's a shame that Scott's not doing Nerdtacular anymore because they would be awesome for Nerdtacular.
Amazing.
Yeah. There's a podcaster that primarily I listen to, but we both listen to in parts, and he had his own convention going on every year in Utah for a while called Nerdtacular.
Oh,
and
cool.
they had a musical guest every year, but as of right now, last year was the last one. So, yeah.
Cons, it's hard because conventions, we know a lot of people who run conventions, and it is a ton of work. It's expensive. It's hard to make all of the costs and make your ends meet at the end of the day. It's a serious business.
Yeah, from what I hear, outside of like the big ones, like private conventions, like you're basically doing what you can do to break even.
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
It's for exposure
really
more
true.
than anything. Mm-hmm. So
and then hiring Songhammer, it's like it puts it over the top right there. It's
So before we're
not a cheap date.
Before we do the official sign off, I have to ask. I've been wondering, the head is it makeup or a tattoo?
These right here.
Oh, it's it's hair.
Actual hair.
Oh, okay. It's been so still that I didn't know if it was like a tattoo or if it was makeup or.
That's kind of like one of the famous. That's one of the favorite. So we got. You can see here, here we got a little bit of little hair action going on there. They can actually move.
How meticulously do you have to go to your scalp to get those to be perfectly right there?
That is a behind the curtain question. I was not going to ask that.
It's important. It's good. You got to be careful when you're shaving. You don't want to shave off or shear one of your hair horns.
Right.
Accidentally.
Right.
It's important.
So did it start off as long hair, and then like one day you just said, "Fuck it, let's do this cool look"?
It was something like that. Yeah, it was a lot like that. And I had varying different hairstyles playing in bands for years, and so at one point I had hair about halfway down my back all the way around, and then it was cool to have short hair, so I was having short hair. And then I kind of thought, well, what would be the most obnoxious hairdo? And what could get the most trolls angry online? Oh, I know. It'll be this.
Also, I imagine it's better than committing to facial tattoos.
Yeah, the facial tattoos. That's something even I have not yet. I've come so close to pulling the trigger on facial tattoos, and I'm like, I don't think I
the Mike Tyson.
Well, I wouldn't go like douchey.
I think if you got a tattoo on your face, you might not be able to help it.
No, see, I have this thing. I mean, this is definitely post-show content because so I have this thing with facial tattoos, right? So I've always because I've got them on my knuckles, they're everywhere, right? I've got them I've got my Resident Evil on my Star Wars.
Awesome.
So I've got them everywhere. But for me, in my personal opinion for tattoos, if you get a guy who is well cut, he's muscular, and he just naturally looks badass, the facial tattoo accentuates that badassness. Whereas if you get somebody who basically if it's somebody who looks like they could beat the shit out of you.
So somebody who's doughy with a facial tattoo doesn't cut
somebody who's doughy with a facial tattoo looks more ridiculous than badass.
Man, you get weird standards.
That's why I won't get one until until my gut is gone, because I just think I'd look goofy.
So as soon
with
as you have a six-pack, you're gonna get ink on your face.
Well, no, I've been told not to.
No, I mean, it
But
is
yes,
what it is. But
for me to get my facial tattoo, I would have to be at least.
What is it that you would get on your face?
He wants a pony. He was thinking like a My Little Pony,
right?
With the unicorn. And
I mean, I know you're a brony and all.
No,
but,
so I had this. I've always had this idea where
big old cock, huh?
Yeah, a big old cock. No, I would have the microchip on the side of the head where it would be
the side of the head's not your face.
Well, no, let me finish. So it would be the microchip. So the brain's a computer, right? But then so it would be completely broken away. The side of the head was broken away. And then as it came to the front, it would be the restructuring of the internals and then the skin coming back together. So it would be biomechanical coming down over and kind of cresting over the eye.
So you want to be a
cheek.
Borg.
He wants to be a permanent Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, but not so much Terminator, but more internal computer.
Borg.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess.
Or you can be a Cyberman.
Corey says, my facial tattoo says Pillsbury. But, so we can definitely keep the tattoo conversation going in the post-show.
You could get that, but just get it in blacklight ink, right?
Blacklight ink's 50-50.
Then
and
it's
you have
not
to get
necessarily apparent.
You have to get it touched up every couple of years.
Because at some point, you're going to be old.
No, I really wanted to do... okay, so
What's it going to be like when you're 65 walking around with that?
I won't give a shit. I'll be 65. I won't care. All right, so we'll keep the tattoo discussion going in the post show. But
when I'm 64, I'll still have a microchip.
For now,
will you love me?
No.
Hey, that's Beatles right there. Or that's beautiful.
That's right, sir.
What?
Boom.
The virtual fist bump. Why don't you give a quick rundown of where everyone can find? Actually, no, hold on. We have another copy of a CD to give away. So
right.
okay, so let's do another one. The last copy, in existence. No, because it's a digital world. The last copy we have to give away on the show. Another copy of Disco and DPS, the EP from Songhammer. In the chat room, we'll do it again. Put a number 1 through 10, and we will pick a number after all of the official stuff. So,
cool.
On that note, let's do the where everyone can find all of your really awesome music.
Right. So if you're looking for Songhammer online, you can either do a Google search. You're going to see the first 4 pages of Google is nothing but Songhammer. You go to songhammer.com. You're going to get all of our links to social media. Facebook.com/Songhammer, Twitter at Songhammer, Instagram at Songhammer. But again, Songhammer.com, you can take you everywhere. But look for us also on Spotify, or look for us iTunes or CD Baby. We're everywhere. We're all over the net. And if you go to Songhammer.com, look for that free music link. You're going to get Kill the Jedi for free.
And that is available for everybody. So yeah, go get.
Do you guys have merch on that website?
Yeah, so we got T-shirts. We have CDs. There's some old school CDs. For
physical
those of you
CDs.
who actually like a physical copy.
Nice.
With our ugly mugs of actual CDs.
Nice.
They're on that side as well, and bumper stickers.
Very cool. All right. So, and that's just songhammer.com.
Songhammer.com. It's your gateway to all things epic.
Nice. Okay, Corey is chatting. Cordially is chatting. Do you guys? How come no one's typing numbers?
That last album cover looked like Manos: The Hand of Fates meets WoW.
That's excellent. This album cover right here. So, which is Take a Ride on My Spaceship. You can see that we're flying in an epic space car.
Nice.
Very neutrino of you.
Album cover. And but we wanted it to look like some old like 60s sci-fi movie.
Do you remember the
movie
neutrinos
poster.
from the Ninja Turtle cartoon? They do.
Wait, what? Say that again?
The neutrinos from Ninja Turtles in the cartoon, the 80s cartoon.
Right.
That's what that is, man. That's awesome.
dope.
What were the
Yeah,
neutrinos?
we're not
The name.
afraid to
The
borrow
neutrinos
from
were
any-
teenagers
anything.
from Dimension X, and they
Oh,
rode around in
that's right.
flying classic cars
That's-
because they were like futuristic greasers.
That's right.
Right, you're right. That's exactly what. Totally, you nailed it.
That's right. I do remember that. All right. So Corey. Okay. So I guess he's not wrong. I said put a number between. We're gonna give him the copy because I called him out accidentally, and he's the only one that put a number in. It's. Oh wait, hold on. Now Growly puts it. Growly. Growly's always slow to the punch. Growly's actually in the future. So whereas you are 3 hours behind us, Growly is already in tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, is Growly in Asia or Europe?
He is in Singapore.
Woohoo!
Yeah, Growly.
So he knows the future.
Growly is our Singaporean fan.
Excellent, Growly, you rock.
All right. So, although Corey's numbers are awesome, So I can't. Yeah, 1 through 10. Pick a number.
Let's say the number 2.
All right. Try again.
Let's say the number 7.
All right. Growly wins. Yeah, because they both went over 2. No, so Corey's number was, which again, it is technically between 1 and 10.
Big number.
3.14159265358.
He went for pie.
He went for pie. He's hungry.
Yeah, Growly, I have you on Facebook too. I will message you what you need for a free copy of the album. Congratulations, sir.
Awesome. Woohoo!
So, dude, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you very much for coming on. We have to have you on again where now that we've covered a lot of the music stuff, then we can just like dive into nerddom.
Yeah, we can branch out.
We would love it, man. And also we'll get ShredHammer on here with me.
Definitely.
It would be excellent, man. We'd love it.
Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be great. We've had bands on here before where the entire quartet was on. We just have a wide angle camera, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, for sure, indeed. But yeah, again, thank you so much for reaching out to us and taking the time to come on. It's been.
Man, thank you for having me, and thanks for plugging Songhammer. We really appreciate it, and we geeks and nerds, we have to stick together because when the robot apocalypse comes, we're going to be the ones on top.
When
right?
the Cylons come,
right?
Is there a particular song you'd like us to exit on?
You know what? How about that song "Eat Us Alive"? Let's do that bad boy.
All right, so I will get that ready to be queued up. And really quick, Corey says, "Excellent guest, great show. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Corey.
Corey.
Man, thank you. And download that free song."
He's probably already there because Corey is that kind of guy.
Yeah, Corey's on top of it.
So let's no, we got to pause that. You said it's under music videos, right?
Yeah.
Eat Us Alive. All right, let me go there. Let me get that queued up, and I will do our usual sign off, and then we will go out with that. So, again, songhammer.com for all of their stuff, and check them out. I mean, you've obviously listened to this long. He's a ton of fun to chat with, and their music is excellent. So, songhammer.com.
Don't forget the guns, Nate.
The guns, yeah, the muscles. The muscles. And Songhammer 1 on YouTube. Their music videos are hilarious, so go watch them because they're so good. As for this show, you can catch this show live every Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at inkedgeekstudios.tv or twitch.tv/inkedgeekstudios if you so choose to go to the real website. inkedgeekstudios.com for everything. Like, that's just the new sign out.
It's the catch-all.
inkedgeekstudios.com.
Wait, that's the new sign out right there?
That's it.
That's the shortest fucking sign out
I know,
I've ever
right?
heard.
Yeah.
I figured 15 minutes from now we might end
No,
the show.
I've gone Asian with my sign out.
Right.
I've shortened it quite a bit.
I mean, I would do the Scott Johnson, hey, fuck you, goodbye.
Yeah. The one thing I will plug, just because and he'll kind of laugh at me for plugging it, but I'm getting, with his inspiration, I'm getting more into photography and having a lot of fun with it.
Laugh at you? No. Commandeer my hobbies? Yeah, but you know.
Well, I mean, podcasting, photography, we are one. Don't forget, I am your.
Do I look mad?
I am your. Who's the Fight Club guy?
Yeah, it's true. You are my Tyler.
I'm
Durden.
your Tyler Durden. Yeah. I don't actually exist.
The more flamboyant, faker version of me.
Yeah,
I'm the quiet one. He's the flamboyant one.
If you would like to check out xsxphotography.com, that would be very much appreciated. And check out some of my drone photos, and there will be some regular photos coming up there pretty soon. I would be. I
do recommend you look at it.
Well, thank you.
With my tutelage, he will go far.
I will be doing some ringside photography for a local wrestling promotion in the next couple of months. So that should be a lot of fun. And yeah, so if you guys would check that out, I would very much appreciate it. Our guest next week is Harold Sylvester?
All I see is John Kuchar's birthday. Yeah, Harold Silvestri.
So
I'm gonna go with Sylvester.
Sylvester.
It's not John Silvestri. Sylvester.
All right. So Harold Sylvester will be our guest next week. So again, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at inkedgeekstudios.tv. Ben, one more big thank you to you, sir. A big thank you to our live audience and all of our podcast listeners. If you are listening in podcast form, a 5-star rating would be very much appreciated. And if you want to support us, patreon.com/IG Studios. But I think that will do it. So for Ben,
man, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming, man. We very much appreciate it. For Ben, for Brandon, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you next week. Oh, hold on. I see. I've listened to it before, so it started mid-song. All right, we'll see you next week.
Man, this dude's a total troll. Kill him to death. All right, I'm gonna gank him now.
Do it!
Done! Yeah! Whoa. I got a bogey on my 6.
Whoa, she looks tough.
Dude, she looks really tough.
Looks like it's time for some PvP.
Yeah!
In the middle of the night. At some point, there was a hell of a fist fight. Not the Jews, just being concerned. If we fail, all worlds will burn. Burn. Death Knight rocket on a skeletal mount. Blood rains down, it's a hell of a head count. Not the Jews, just being concerned. If we fail, all worlds will burn. Cool down, got soul. Nightmare is a rock and roll. Hey, crown, let's ride. This tomb is gonna eat us alive. Cool down, got soul. Nightmare is a rock and roll. Hey, crown, let's ride. This tomb is gonna eat us alive.
You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.